Hello, boys and girls in the Rangers and Special Operations Forces, or SOF community, of which I was a part. It has often said that pain is fear leaving the body, and I am fairly certain, as a pretty educated person, that at least a few doctors could provide a second and more informed opinion on that. But even Sun Tzu recognized that trying to get even a soldier to do what he is told to do under orders may require something other than the truth. And believe it or not, even some folks who jump from a perfectly good airplane, how can we say this politely, get a little motivational encouragement from their friends. So watch your six. If you watch enough action films, you know what that means. Hello, my name is Major Mike Webb, an independent candidate for U.S. Congress who spent 2 decades in the uniformed military service with a primary focus on what is often described as force projection, or deploying military assets to address emerging contingencies just about anywhere and everywhere in the world, and what we describe as force protection, which is exactly what it sounds like, making certain our equipment and personnel survive at least long enough to complete the mission. We're very, very big on mission accomplishment because, as Long John Silver used to say, dead men tell no tales, and a dead soldier is maybe a loss to his family and friends on the far end, but also not very useful for mission accomplishment. You know, I can't use you if you're dead. But in the current discussions, folks who voted for the science seem to suggest that the best plan is no plan at all. Perhaps those feelings about kids in grammar schools or whatever kind of override reason, and fools rush in. So let's just talk a little bit about fear and courage, or more properly, fear and phobia. False evidence appearing real, which at least in the law are distinguished by what even an attorney would describe as a reasonable apprehension. Specifically, a reasonable apprehension of imminent death or grave bodily harm. We find this a lot in the extortion law. According to Jeremy Howard and others at the Data Institute for the University of San Francisco, who had published a study in mid-April 2020, not even peer-reviewed, mind you, but yet upon which the nation's only physician serving as a state governor had relied upon for non-medical grade facial coverings, masking guidance, had suggested that historically epidemics are a time of fear, confusion, and helplessness, which tend to place you at the mercy of your enemy. And just a month before that study was published, the Pew Research Center had found that some 24% of atheists were turning to prayer, yet who statistically tend to be male. You know, those big macho A-type personalities. And some 43% of whom possess at least a bachelor's degree. Pretty smart. Placing them, at least by academic attainment credentials, not all schools equal, on the more educated side of Americans, ranked 9th nationally, but still far below the first-ranked Hindi, 77%. You want to sound like you're intelligent? Tell people you practice Hindu. Unitarian Universalists, 67%, and Jews at 59%. And one might reasonably infer from this the driving motivation for these atheists suddenly deciding to find Jesus in a pandemic had something to do with fear, because at least military chaplains will tell you that there were no atheists in a foxhole. Gotta plug the book. By line and block chart, on the organizational level, however, as a retired veteran, I can assure you that there are also no chaplains in a foxhole. That's not their job. They don't go down there. So you best make your provisions for the hereafter before you deploy from garrison. You can scream medic all you want. Maybe somebody will find you on the battlefield, but scream chaplain on the battlefield, and that's on you. God go with you. Good luck with that. But fear, most often in political discourse, is that same fear with which Marty McFly had to deal in Back to the Future, which most of you probably saw. The fear of being called chicken. scared of people calling you chicken, you got problems. And many may recall a widely syndicated article that had been published by the Washington Post in mid-June 2020. I don't know, we got a lot of police forces scared about people calling them chicken. But there was a syndicated article that had been published by the Washington Post in mid-June 2020, which had begun with the words 4 months of discord about the coronavirus epidemic have transformed the cloth mask into a potent political symbol touted by the Democrats as a key positive communal responsibility, labeled by some GOP leaders as a sign of government overreach, and as a scarlet letter pinned on the wheat. So we can see that even the Washington Post has acknowledged that in politics, our statesmen are not exactly above reproach when it comes to name-calling, shaming, and passing this off as the facts. Now, fake news. Yes, believe it or not, politicians may distort the truth and even outright lie. Surprising. And at least according to Niccolo Machiavelli, however, the ultimate politician or sycophant, the end justifies the means. As long as you're able to be perceived by others to possess those good qualities people say that they honor, cherish, and admire, and rush to the polls to vote like democracy depends on it. And now, personnel engaged in law enforcement are in the crosshairs of politics during a midterm election year. So, All Points Bulletin, be on the lookout for some perpetrators and propagandists just trying to affect the outcome of an election. So, ladies, let's begin with a review of the relevant facts on the old timeline, shall we? We had in Uvalde an earliest report around 11:20 hours, or 11:20 a.m. for civilians, and the suspect was in police custody at 13:06 hours, or 1:06 p.m. If we perform a little quick math, grab your calculators. While it may seem like an eternity, if you happen to be in a live shooter incident scene, screaming, "It's a war zone, man!" as a victim, have no idea how to terminate the situation or alter the outcomes for yourself, that may seem, in your mind, thinking only about yourself, being selfish, that 2 hours is a very long time. And that's understandable, a lot of people get scared. It happens, it's part of life. And there is an opportunity cost associated with relying upon others to do that which you are unable or unwilling to do yourself. Life has consequences, sugar, and stuff takes time. Hey, I didn't make the rules. This was a 2-hour situation in Texas, only 2 hours. Goodness gracious, maybe two church services for some people. And like I said, I was part of the SOF community, assigned to an elite light infantry rapid deployment special operations battalion, where we were able to respond to contingencies anywhere within the world in 18 hours or under. Does that mean that Rangers possess some alien technology that enables them to reduce a 20-hour trip from Seattle to Wuhan down to only 18 hours? I can neither confirm or deny. No, no. For instructional purposes, no. That means that upon notification, or what is referred to as in-hour, within 18 hours of less, for planning purposes, in-hour, 18 hours or less, a battalion of Army Rangers will be wheels up, headed down the tarmac, and fully ready to throw some hot lead downrange at the adversary when they arrive. There may also be some interesting things going on the plane to prepare with that extra time. Put it into the schedule. With the plan already approved, rehearsed, and ready to execute. Rangers do nothing but train. If it ain't raining, we ain't training. And then, when the balloon goes up, we're ready to go. And if you're calling in the Rangers, that's a pretty urgent national security problem. A lot of people are freaking out. And in that 18 hours, about 80% of that time is going to involve mission planning. Mission planning, operations orders, rehearsals, getting equipment, all that kind of stuff. And these are special ops types who practice and rehearse to do this every day. People would scream like there was no tomorrow if their local police department were to militarize its training and become the Army Rangers. And so, there again is an opportunity cost and consequences. Consequences to collective community choices. If you want martial law, after the next gun incident at a school, you're always free to make that choice on election days at the polls. Vote for El Duce, the Nazi, or whatever. So let's review the points of instruction that we have covered thus far. Number one, you are not the police. You may think you're the police. You may have a police uniform tucked away, got mail order or whatever, but you are not the police. You may not be qualified to be the police. And it was 75% of Americans unable to even join the military. Then you probably are not qualified to be the police. And or made a personal choice for whatever reason not to become the police. You didn't like the color of the uniform. Tell them that. You don't sound like a scaredy cat. And there is an associated consequence to that decision, or opportunity cost, the term used in college economics courses for those who were not too scared to go to college. Could that situation be altered? Why, certainly anything can be altered. There is plenty of training available to better prepare and enable yourself to be able to handle any situation, even a pandemic. About 30 years ago, that was part of my job, to prepare for biological hazards, emergencies, and biological warfare, and develop a plan to kind of deal with that. Along comes a pandemic, civilians freaked out and acted on their emotions and said they were following the science, and now we have over 1 million dead. Stuff happens. Not my problem. Could that outcome in a mass gun violence be altered? Sure, perhaps. If, like in your favorite movies, there was a John Hard-to-Kill Kane, an inside man, a Passenger 57, a real-life action hero, covert sentinel to disrupt the plans of the bad guys. Get into his planning cycle. Make him decide that, you're the wrong guy to attack. With adequate training and experience, maybe the time waiting for law enforcement could become your big chance to be an extra in an action thriller. Or you can wait for law enforcement. And according to the Department of Homeland Security, there is a 3-step plan for you. Since you don't have a sentinel, you have to wait for the police. Easy to follow plan. Run, hide, fight. Got that? Run, hide, fight. 3. First, if you can get out, then do so and run as fast as your little scared legs will carry you. Beats, do your duty. Yes. Be there to fight another day. That's what they often say. Second, if you can't get out and are scared and defenseless, then hide. Goodness gracious. You should know how to do that. Tactical guys call this concealment, which means if you are a scared football quarterback peeing in your pants, a small cardboard box may not work. We can see you. Situational awareness can save your life. Some people, they get freaked out. They don't realize that stuff. You'd be amazed. A cardboard box will also not provide adequate cover or protection from small arms fire. Imagine that. They can't see you, but they accidentally shoot the box. Boom, you're dead. Not any good for you. You need a place to get your scared behind out of view, but also to prevent you from being a victim of stray gunfire. Be like the ostrich putting his head inside the ground, thinking that his body is covered. It's like a science. And third, if all else fails, as much as you wanted to elect the flight over fight response, the bad guys may provide you no choice. So grab a blunt instrument or something heavy, or try to do a Will Smith's open hand slap and fight for your life. But remember, if you do that, you may hurt the bad guy's feelings. Yeah, that's right. He may break down and cry and provoke a proportional response. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, even in mass gun violence. You know the science. Two. Second point of instruction. Most everyone can agree, just like you are not the Army Rangers, even though you want to believe you are. Neither are the police, and you probably would not want the Army Rangers as your police. Bill Clinton tried to send in the Army Rangers to Haiti back in the 1990s. You don't want the Rangers running around Haiti saying that they're doing humanitarian assistance. Nobody's going to believe that the Rangers are just there to stop traffic. The police don't jump from perfectly good airplanes, don't fast rope or rappel onto rooftops, and don't shoot terrorists in the eye. And with the day-to-day grind of, being officer-friendly at your school, rescuing your cat stuck in a tree, giving out parking tickets and speeding tickets, responding to domestic violence and other duties as assigned, they simply do not have extra time to dedicate to training, to practice like the Rangers. Rehearse every day for that chance that a mass gun violence scenario may arise. mass gun violence situations, believe it or not, are not a constant occurrence. So these guys are not getting a lot of practice. And if we had that situation, we'd be in a war zone now. So when it happens, they have two choices. They can develop a plan reasonably calculated to apprehend the suspect, come in there, calm, cool, collected, like we see in the movies, doing the ranger stack and all that kind of stuff, and in a manner that is least likely to provoke that reaction from the bad guys that you would probably get if you decided to play movie action hero, or be like that guy, the businessman trying to negotiate and hard to kill, presenting an imminent threat of death or grave bodily harm to yourself and others. Or, that other option, which looks like it's going to be here to fall off, and police could perform your rescue operation correctly. It's going to take a little time, by the book and with a plan conducted safely with a minimal loss of life. If we could save the suspect's life, isn't that good? He gets to have a trial, and then we can, let him have his rights observed. So that's just the way it is, pussycat. If you are unable or unwilling to be the police, then there is a cost. If you can't wait 18 hours for the Rangers to be wheels up and on their way, or don't want the Rangers for police, there's also a cost. You can't always have what you want, honey. But if you try sometimes, you just might get what you need. Are we clear? Give me a thumbs up now, hero. This briefing is unclassified. As you were, my name is Major Mike Webb, and by God, I am running for U.S. Congress. This year, make the right choice, and we shall make America great again. Honest. Carry on. This advertisement was authorized by Mike Webb.